Welcome to Focus on Education. I'm Keith Fillauer, Chairman of the Oak Ridge Board of Education, and this is our first edition of Focus on Education. And throughout the school year, members of the Board of Education will be hosting this show, and we hope to bring to you a guest that will help you learn more about who they are and what they do for our school system. So it is a great pleasure for me tonight to start our show off with one of our newest additions to our school district, but not quite new to Oak Ridge, and she'll tell you all about that in just a few minutes. But we welcome Ms. Jenny Boles, who is the new principal at Glenwood Elementary School. And welcome, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this.
Well, we've got about 30 minutes
Okay.
to talk about what we could probably talk about for hours. So we'll try to condense down and get to the good parts.
Sounds good.
So tell us a little bit about you, your background, education, family, previous job experiences, wherever you want to go with that.
Okay.
And just be aware that at any moment, I might just jump in and take us in a different direction.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Well, I grew up here in Oak Ridge, as you know. Wasn't quite born here, but spent from 3 months on here in Oak Ridge and graduated in 1993. At that point, I went over to Maryville College, where I have many family members graduate and were alumni there. Studied child development with teacher licensure and came out of Maryville College and decided that the market was very saturated in this area. There were very few jobs for the number of candidates that were out and about. And I, at that point, decided, hey, let's go somewhere different and new. I was single and thought, let's try a new area. So I went just north of Atlanta and taught down there in Cherokee County schools for about 4 years. And realized, I jokingly said, I'm going to go down there and become Teacher of the Year and then come back home. Never got Teacher of the Year, but I did work really hard and I learned a lot in that area. And then I came on back here because I missed my family. I missed home. I missed a lot of my college friends were still back in this area, and got a position in Maryville and at John Sevier Elementary, and I was a teacher there for a while, both in 3rd and 4th grade, and then moved into an assistant principal's job and then principal's job there. So that's my job and education piece. In the meantime, when I moved back up here, I met my husband, and he had a daughter, has a daughter, we have a daughter. Her name is Sydney, and within a couple of years, we decided to get married, and I became an instant mom in that situation. She is now a senior in college at the University of Alabama. Don't hate me. I know that a lot of people out there are probably like, "Arr," but when your child starts going to school and they start saying words like free and D1 sports, you go, I'm in.
Sometimes that's a very important factor, obviously, but sometimes we just lose control of our children and helping them. They've got to make their own decisions.
Very true, too. And we're really proud of her. She's studying nutrition and hopes to be a registered dietitian here within the next few years.
That's great.
Then I have 2 other children, and my husband is Roger Boles. I don't think I mentioned that when I mentioned him. My 8th grader is James, and he goes to Jefferson now. And then our youngest son, Ben, is a 3rd grader at Glenwood. So those are my kids, and they're awesome. I couldn't be more blessed.
So what does he think about his mom being principal at the school he's attending?
Oh, he loves it. He loved it before, and he loves it now. Yeah. He is a thinker and a problem solver, and so he is great to always tell me, now, Mom, did you know that the swing over here on the playground, it might need a little bit of grease? Or, Mom, did you know that it's a little bit hard for this? Have you thought through this? So he's always posing new challenges and opportunities for me as a principal. But I think he just loves me being in the building, which I think once they get a little bit older, he might not love it as much.
That could be true. I know I did not have the opportunity to teach my son Parks, but I was a member of the Board of Education at the time he went through the school system. So it was interesting. You learn a lot.
Yes.
From your children, if they're in at least the same district you're in, but particularly in the same school, you find out about the swings that need greasing and some other things that are going on in the school.
Right, exactly. And, you know, but as you get older, so as you know, when I was in middle school is when my dad was the assistant principal there at Robertsville, and it was not always easy having your dad be an administrator at that
I'm
point.
glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you about that.
Okay, go ahead. But that was a very different scenario in middle school. So I guess it's good that I'm his principal at an elementary level.
You're probably absolutely correct. So your parents, your father particularly, as you said, involved in education till he retired. At the point he was superintendent of the Athens City School District,
yes.
And your mom is very community involved and working in the community and still live in the area, and it's good to come back home.
Yes, it is.
And Maryville's loss, certainly our gain, and we're very pleased that we found the opportunity for you to come back and be, and I'm already hearing great things about you, and I know your staff, but you're still in the honeymoon phase, so to speak.
Absolutely, yes.
Are very, very happy that you were selected to be the principal at Glenwood.
Thank you. It's truly an honor, and I feel humbled to even be back here. It seems almost surreal in a lot of ways. But the staff at Glenwood has been, and the families, everybody have been overwhelmingly welcoming and helping. They're so supportive. Within the move that I've made here into Oak Ridge, all the way to from the moment I stepped foot on campus. So actually even before then. So I feel like I've just landed in paradise in a lot of ways. You're right, it's still the honeymoon period a little bit, and I'm fully aware of that, but their professionalism and positivity, their love for the kids is unmatched. And so I know together we'll be able to work through anything.
Right, absolutely. Well, obviously this is not the first time we've met.
Right, exactly.
And as I said at our board meeting a couple of times ago, we probably know some things about each other that we won't be talking about on this television show tonight. But let's get you to think back a little bit, and something that you remember most about your time in Oak Ridge when you were in school here, whether it be at Robertsville or at the high school.
Okay. Well, and I went to Linden first.
So
I went to Linden, moved on to Robertsville, and then the high school. You know, I think overall what I remember the most is just the love and the support of a small town. No matter where you went, whether it be the grocery store or to a ball game or anywhere, the pool, everybody was just there and kind of kept an eye out for each other and took care of one another. So that love and support, and then as far as the school system, just the quest for excellence was always there, and that was expected of every student. I can't say that I was the best student ever. I was not. I feel like now that I've grown older, my gifts are in other areas, but it didn't matter if I was the top of the class, the middle of the class, or the bottom of the class. There were always people there to push me and folks that believed in me. You know, one of the things that I remember is being invited to go see Rosa Parks when she was here. And so when I was in the board meeting the other night, I kept thinking, this is the place where I saw Rosa Parks. And it was incredible. You know, I remember important, poignant moments like that, but I also remember fun times like the Star Spangled Spectacular and the Berkey Brothers, right?
Yeah.
That's legendary.
Yeah, how could you forget that?
I couldn't. I don't think I ever will. My dad in a diaper on a bicycle is ingrained in my brain forever. But no, those moments and finding the joy along with keeping that educational excellence is something that I think no matter where I went through school was important. another really big moment in my mind was the state championship
Yes.
in 1992. And that Central game was just huge. And I was a cheerleader at the time, and it was it was so exciting.
Yeah.
The blizzard of '93 was another big one.
We're trying to forget that.
But we were at the girls' state championship.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
And the
That's
only
right.
people at the state championship game were the basketball players and the cheerleaders. None of the parents were able to make it, so
Right.
nobody was in the stands. It was bizarre.
Very surreal feeling, I'm
It
sure.
really was. It absolutely was. So Oak Ridge is a wonderful place.
And I agree with everything you've said. I get asked a lot as a former educator, how are students different today than they were when you were teaching? So let me ask you this question. How would you describe today's elementary student?
Today's elementary student certainly is very technology, very well versed in technology. It's probably the word I want to say, but they're also very curious. I think that technology piece has brought in new opportunities for kids, and so they're much more curious about the world around them. But in the same breath, they're kids. So the same way they were 23 years ago when I started to when they are now, they're still children, and they want love and they want nurturing. They want somebody to challenge them and to help them provide boundaries. But that's how I would describe them. I think they just know a lot more about technology than they did a few years ago.
And I really appreciate your answer, because I think that's something that every teacher, those who are beginning or those who are seasoned, should always remember and never forget that every child walks into that classroom wanting something from that room.
Yes.
They want to be recognized, they want to be helped, and they want to be loved.
That's exactly
And
right.
if you do that, I was always convinced, and I'm still convinced today, you'll be a successful educator if you do that.
Agreed.
Regardless of what your curriculum is, that's got to be a starting place first.
It all begins with relationships.
Yes, absolutely.
Right from the beginning, everything does.
This may take a little bit longer. We've got just a minute before we're going to take a break.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip over something that I want to ask you when you get back.
Okay.
When we get back from the break. So I'm going to sneak a question in that we haven't talked about here, but
Okay.
just for a very short answer. If you were a principal, which you are, but if you were a principal who had the ability to design a school, what would be one thing that you would say every elementary school must have?
Every elementary school? Okay. If it's a school I'm designing, the very best teachers.
And I would have hoped that would have been your
That's
answer.
it. That's hands down it.
And you know, the inside, we're sitting here at Oak Ridge High School in a great area, in a television studio. I hope the students here that are in this program, it's a great program. I hope they recognize what they have here, and I know they're taking advantage of it. We've got the camera operators and all of the floor people and the people behind the scenes. There's not everybody that gets this opportunity.
Not at all.
But to have this opportunity, obviously having this is great, but you've got to have the teacher. And you as a principal have a role in that as you begin to hire staff and hire the best, find the best that you possibly can.
Hire somebody that makes us better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back to talk more about elementary education with my guest, the principal of Glenwood Elementary, Miss Jenny Boles. Welcome back to Focus on Education. My guest this evening is Miss Jenny Boles, who is our new principal at Glenwood Elementary School. Again, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And let's just jump right back into it. And here's a toughie for you.
Okay.
Because you'll say there are no difficult things, but there has to be. What is the most difficult thing about being an elementary principal?
I think it's the same for every principal, but I could be wrong. So I'd love to ask others. But for me, it's balance. It's spending time in the right places at the right times. So doing what's most important, being visible in the classrooms, being there for teachers anytime they need it, being there for families, which is the most important part of my job, with the students at the center, while also balancing the other parts, the administrative parts of the job. So I think balance is one piece that's difficult, but also that in every way, you know, balancing personal life and school life and making sure that both are having the time that they need is probably one of the biggest challenges.
And your job is not punch in a clock and punch out on a clock either, as is any principal or any teacher.
Truth.
You're kind of on call 24/7. Yes. I was kind of thinking to myself as you were saying that, I can remember back a number of years ago, but not many, when I was in school, you usually found the principal where?
In their office.
In their office, absolutely. And your contact with that principal was if you'd been sent to the office and had to meet with the principal, and you just didn't see him out much. But I am so glad that whatever changed that philosophy is important. I see our principals in the Oak Ridge schools out greeting the buses and at athletic events and in classrooms, and that makes our students much better, I think, to have that relationship.
Agreed.
To not just know, well, my principal's name is, but I know, I see the face. I know the face of that, and that's so important. So I'm really glad that you said that.
Well, and I hope that they know me more than just a face, too.
Right.
I hope that they know me as somebody that they can come to.
Right.
You know, I believe having 100 sets of eyes on every child every day, making sure that the kids know that any big person in our school can help them, can be somebody that they can go to. So I don't want them just to know me as a face, but actually as somebody that will be invested in their life and help them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you said that. Well, there has to be a lot. I know we're early in the school year, I know.
Right.
But there's a lot of great things going on at Glenwood, I bet. You want to talk about some of them?
Sure. Glenwood is a remarkable school. I, again, am so humbled and honored to be a part of it. They have done so many wonderful things in the time that they've been there. And so I'm just coming on board now and learning, right? So I'm kind of like a sponge right now, seeing all the great things that are happening. But one of the things that I think is really exciting is that we're a reward school this year. And honored by the state in that way. That's really exciting and speaks to the hard work of our teachers, families, and students last year. And so I'm just hopping on board and learning more about that. But they also have really incredible STEM program, and I know that Oak Ridge is a STEM accredited school system, and but to see their project-based learning that they do there at Glenwood and how they're able to integrate everything is just incredible. They've also been awarded the 21st Century Grant again, and with that they're able to do some extended learning opportunities both before school and after school. And we have teachers that are not only willing and able, but fighting over trying to get to those positions. So I think just the passion that it shows that our teachers have to be able to spend more time with our kids impacting them is just incredible.
Once again, the educational philosophy of bring your pencil and your notebook and come in and sit in your desk and pay attention is out the door. And that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people that would just be surprised and awed if they would come into our buildings and just go and see what our students are doing and the opportunities our teachers are providing for them. It's amazing.
Well, my third grader now just attended his first day of Mandarin Club yesterday. Right? He came home saying, "Ni hao," and I was like, "What's up?" You know, that's great. This is awesome. He wouldn't even have that opportunity everywhere. So that's exciting.
And the things that they're doing today, and particularly a lot technology-based, have given them these opportunities. We never, 10 years ago, we never would have thought that this is where we'd be taking our students. And it is a good thing, and we're very fortunate, once again, that we have the quality staff in Oak Ridge that allows that to happen.
It couldn't happen without them.
And it could not. You're right. So, have you had your first open house?
Yes.
And
yes.
that went well, I'm sure.
Everything went great. Yes.
So,
We've had our first open house. We do have our upcoming STEM night on September 12th. So that's going to be a ton of fun. Evidently they'll be blasting rockets and all sorts of cool things. Again, I'm just learning about it as I come on board here, but I'm there to help, and it's going to be an awesome opportunity for our kids.
You know, another thing that we're doing so well in the schools, the opportunity for parents to visit really used to come only at a PTA meeting or an open house. And now with things like STEM night and other things, it really gives the parents a chance to get involved and see what their children are doing. Concerts that we have, all of the activities that we so encourage our parents to get there and be part of their child's education, and that's so important as well.
It's absolutely, it's paramount.
Oh, yeah.
And there's plenty of research to support that as well.
Again, if you had that magic wand,
Okay.
and you could change or add something to our state mandated curriculum, what would it be?
More experiences for our kids. I think that we learn through experience. I think we learn through doing. A number of our students come from different levels of income, and some folks don't have those opportunities always. So whether that be more field trips or bringing it in more, but giving those hands-on opportunities and giving kids those experiences to help them learn.
Let me ask you this. That's kind of food for thought.
Okay.
There has been discussion going on at the state level. I'm honored to also serve on the Tennessee School Board Association Board of Directors, and we've had discussions to say, let each district help design the curriculum that best fits that school district, keeping in mind that there are your base classes that you want every student to take. One of the things that happens, I think, at Oak Ridge High School when the kids get here is schedule compression. We have a lot of great electives here,
Yes.
but it's hard for students because of state requirements
Right.
that they have to meet to get involved with, and particularly in the arts. Other programs from welding to auto mechanics. I would have liked to have taken, when I was in school, an auto mechanic class. I'd probably be better working on my car than I am today had I done that. And what we need within our students in Oak Ridge is different than what someone, say, in a county school might need for their students. That's more agricultural direct. What would be your thoughts on that? Good or bad? I'm just throwing that out.
I can see pros and cons to both.
And there are pros and cons to both.
I think that I do think giving kids more opportunities. I think that we want our students to be successful in life, and there are many different pathways to get there. I do think college is really important for many students, but there are other opportunities as well. I do sometimes, I've got an 8th grader, right? And so finding that path for him and allowing him to see as many different opportunities and make sure before they get into college where they really get locked in could be really beneficial. But I also, from another standpoint, from the principal hat, I can see if every district did something different, even at an elementary level. We have such transientness.
Right.
So when students would come in, it would be hard for us to know where the gaps are. And I worry that our teachers, that might add a lot more to their plates, trying to figure out where they need to, where to fill the gaps, where to move them forward. Might be a lot as well. So I don't know what the answer is, but I can see benefits to both situations.
And that's certainly a topic for good
Yes.
discussion.
I agree, yeah. We might need a whole 30 minutes.
Yeah, more or less. And you know, education goes on cycles, as we all know. We're always trying something a little different, and we think this is going to work better. And you know, we were on a pathway at one time where every student should go down this path, and then we got, well, some students should go down the academic path, some should go down the vocational path. We need multiple paths for every student to have the opportunity to go down.
Absolutely.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Well, our time's going to get away with us. I want to ask you one other question, and then I'll give you a chance to add on anything that you think we should have covered that we didn't.
Okay.
When your students leave Glenwood, what would be the number one thing or the number one goal for each student to take with them when they leave Glenwood?
Obviously, we want them to be the very best they can be as students and as human beings. But that's what I would say as a principal, is that I want us to be able to help them become the highest achievers they can while also having that good, strong character. But more than anything, I want them to know they matter. That no matter who they are, that they matter and they're going to do great things in this world. Because I feel like our job is to build that foundation of greatness. There's nothing more important in any building than the foundation. And if we get that right, then we're going to set them up for greatness for the future.
Right. Well, what we're going to do now that we've had this conversation, maybe next year, so after you've got everything settled, we'll come back and we'll have this conversation again and kind of add on and see how things are going.
That sounds wonderful.
You've had the opportunity tonight to meet Miss Jenny Boles, our new principal at Glenwood Elementary School. I want to encourage every parent that has a student at Glenwood to get to know Miss Boles, get to know Glenwood Elementary, get to know your students' teachers there, and above all, get involved in the school. Your child is going to appreciate it, even though they may say they don't at times, but they do appreciate you being there and you supporting them. In a month, another member of the Board of Education will be hosting with their guests. Again, hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. We look forward to seeing you in our schools and supporting the Oak Ridge schools. We appreciate you watching.